to Conversations with Reverend G. I am Reverend Grenetta Mason, aka Reverend G. And I'm here every Monday night on WEMS Radio Live from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. We come each Monday night bringing spiritual conversations with guests from all walks of life, different professions, and different perspectives. We talk about spirituality from a practical point of view. How has it supported you in your everyday life? What are some of the spiritual practices that you use that support you when you're feeling stressed or when you're feeling sad? What practices support you in just maintaining your mental health? All of my guests use different spiritual practices, and it's great when we can look at what their practices are and maybe we can adopt some of their practices. We talk about the spiritual toolkit. The spiritual toolkit is what practices you have at your hand. What practices work for you? What things do you use that are personal to you? I'm excited that I get to come each week with guests that share with you different perspectives around what's going on in the world now, different perspectives around how we can heal in this time and how spirituality can support us in that. I'm here tonight. I have a special guest that we're going to talk about real estate, and we'll talk about the travel business. My guest tonight is Lawrence Pickney, and he's the CEO of Zen Travel Business. And we'll be here tonight giving you tips on travel. We'll talk about how travel is impacting us now, even with COVID. So I'm excited that he'll join us to have that conversation. When we talk about spirituality and we talk about it from a practical point of view, I like to look at it from a way of what tools and how can I use these tools? And what is it that I could do on a daily basis that supports me in using the tools, because the consistency in using those tools is what really supports you in having it turn out the way you want it to turn out. I have some special tools that I use, and I'm sure you guys know all about my tools, but I'm excited that Lawrence is here and we'll talk about some of his tools, and we'll talk about just how we can navigate through life, because my goal is to support you in finding joy and living your best life. You can find me every day on Facebook as Reverend Grenetta Mason and on Instagram as Rev Grenetta. So let's bring Lawrence Pickney in and we can have this conversation. Hey, Lawrence.
Hey, sorry to be late.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're not late.
No, I'm never late, right?
Right.
But I have clients running out across the oceans tomorrow.
Okay.
And
So I was telling them that you were the CEO of Zen Business. So go ahead, let's get into it. So let's talk about, you say you have clients traveling all over. Tell us a bit about your business and what you do.
well, it's called Zen.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Right. Oh, did he go on mute? All right. So we're going to do both of these where he's going to have business going on and we're going to have this conversation, right? So if people are going over the ocean tomorrow, I guess there are those little things that you have to take care of. That's all I can say about it, right? But I'm sure he'll be back with us and give us some information on what's happening right now, because I'm sure with the people starting to travel again, there's probably a lot going on and a lot of different things that that have to be considered now with everything being shut down, and now everybody's trying to go everywhere. And then what are really the COVID rules, and what's happening in, is it really time for us to start traveling to Italy and Rome and all those places, right? So, Mister, I'm trying to carry on.
Thank you, and I am sorry. That's like coming to your food to have the dinner table and picking up the phone.
Yeah,
I,
sure is,
yeah,
right.
but I know, but my duty is first to the clients, and
Okay.
I can't, So anyway,
Okay.
it's all done. You're all mine.
All right, let's go. So
Okay.
what I was talking to them about is, no, you have the floor. Let's talk to us about your Zen Biz Travel Group, right? And how you got started, where you are now, and some of the challenges even now that we're going back. Everybody's trying to go, right? So give us a little bit of what that world looks like.
The world is very, very busy. As you
Mm.
know, I've also do real estate,
Mm-hmm.
and this kind of feels like New York post 9/11, 6 months after. Right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
remember, we thought, and nobody would ever live in New York again.
Right.
Everything was like, oh, everything's going to crash. And within 6 months, everything just went berserk. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that. So now travel, people are moving. They've been in the house for a year and a half. They're
Mm-hmm.
ready to go. And,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also gotten very complicated.
Okay.
So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, if I had ignored that call, even though my commitment to you and your viewers is very important, but when it comes to crises, I got to be there no matter what. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do. But it's very exciting. People are going. People are doing more life bucket list trips. I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, everybody was always looking for the best deal and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll go do a 3 day or 4 day. People are taking longer vacations, and they're a little bit more, let's say, more expensive rather than budget. But there are some deals out there. We're
Mm-hmm.
still in a COVID environment, which means that a lot of your hotels are not at full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
understand?
Yeah.
So you think, oh, I could just jump on a plane and get a cheap deal, and
Mm-hmm.
but no, if a hotel is at 40-50% capacity, the prices are going to stay where the prices are.
Okay. Okay.
You see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, I was saying there are a lot of different things since COVID that we have to look at with like all the new rules, even
Right.
like even to the point of what countries will we start to travel to first, right? And even knowing what those rules are for travel, right? In at this time. Would you say that your business is booming? I would say booming, but picked up a lot. And the reason I asked that question is because we think about how you could go online and use Expedia, or you could call a travel agents. Talk about the differences in what you offer as a travel group as opposed to just going to Expedia online.
There's so many, but we'll keep it to the simple one.
So, okay, that's so
Okay?
okay.
We're going. What you just saw was a perfect example that you're not going to get on Expedia,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I knew I had a commitment to you, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do this. But when a crisis comes, this is first. That
Mm-hmm.
client is first.
Okay.
He's not going to get that. You're going to
Yeah.
stay on hold for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and talk to somebody who knows where they are. You
Mm-hmm.
know my name. You know my number. I'm available.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar. I kind of look at it like kind of almost like a minister in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
a counselor. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
really even go by the word travel agent anymore.
Oh, see, oh me, I don't know that. What
Right.
y'all call 'em now? What they
But
call
it's more travel advisor.
advisors? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I like it.
Right.
Right.
right? Because in fact, you know, you and it's really well, you know how I am. You know me for so many years. We're not going to tell people, but right.
I was counting today. It's a lot. It's a
That's
lot.
right. God bless. Thank God for that because we're still here.
All
But
right.
yeah, but now, I mean, I'll have people that will call me, for example, and they'll say, "Yo, me and my boys want to go to Brazil."
Mhm.
Now, Expedia is not going to ask you for what,
Okay.
or are you, you know, do you have a certain agenda? Let's put it. I mean, I know you're a minister, so I'm going to give you the PG version of my conversation.
Yeah, you know me for a long time. I'm Grenetta first, and then I'm
Right,
Rev G. I'm
right,
still gonna be me.
right. But straight talk. So, for
Right.
example, an advisor is, oh, I want to go to Jamaica. Okay, who's going? Me and my boys. Okay, you guys straight? You gay? What is it?
Right. Okay.
What do you mean? Well, what I mean, not as much Jamaica, but the Dominican Republic.
Right.
If you're looking in that direction, I might say, okay, this might be the places you want to consider. If you want this, this. If you're a family, this. So,
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. So now you get it's sort of like a boutique service. So like if
exactly.
you're gonna have even to the point if you say it's gonna be all girls thing, you can set it up like that. Or
Exactly.
all gay or all what a family reunion or whatever, right?
Or you know, we did yours, and I
My
loved it.
family reunion.
Right.
Right, exactly.
And so right, but everybody has their own thing in the composition of whatever the group is. So you could be a girls group with millennials, which is different than a girls group of golden girls.
Okay. Okay.
Right? You can have a group that has half married and then half single. Right? So so that's where the advisement comes.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Travel advisor. Okay.
Right.
You know what's interesting too is when we look at being black people and traveling, right? What are some of like the challenges you found? And you're a black company, right? Have you seen any like blatant challenges that you've had as a minority business?
It's just so interesting how that question was twisted.
How did I twist it?
Well, I'm gonna tell you because when you first started, I was just at what we do as travel advisors. We go around to different places in the world and we look at hotels, we look at brands, we look at cruise ships because we have to have a reference point.
Got it.
Right? So a Royalton County is a Royalton, and a Rio is a Rio, and a Sanders is a Sanders, right? So I was having a conversation at this fam trip, Caucasian woman who does educational programs and stuff, and she kind of asked the same question. Well, what is a black? She didn't say black agent. She said as a travel advisor, your market, the market that is of people of color, you know, how do you market to them, or what's the difference? I said, there's no difference. I mean, we are the same people. We occupy the same seat. I said, where I get passionate and get, in some senses, infuriated is when I go to brands who totally disregard the presence of Latin, African American, or Latino, or people of color. Expect us to come and support your brand. That every time I look in a magazine, we're not there. That's a problem for me. So I'm on several advisory boards. One is a huge advisory boards with CEOs of cruise lines and major travel publications. And that's the key. Let's get more images out there for people of color who travel. Let's get more executives on the, you know, not the low levels.
Right. The high level.
The CEOs, like Carnival Cruise Line has a CEO that is black, Arnold Donald. That runs all the brands, Holland America, Carnival. Very proud of that.
Right.
nobody knows it really.
Right, exactly.
Right. But
Exactly.
it's major, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I did. But when it comes to uh us, I mean, we're just like everybody else. We are some people are wild and crazy, some people will spend a lot of money, some people will hardly spend any. Our job as travel advisors is to make the fit.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And if you
Mhm.
do it right, you will do it right. Some people will, no matter what, won't be happy. I
Mhm.
try to avoid those people like the plague.
Mhm.
And have done very well with it because basically 98% of our business comes from direct referrals.
Referrals. Oh,
Right.
okay.
So if you send your friend to me,
Mhm.
you already told them
Mhm. Mhm.
what they're
What
getting.
they get. Right. Okay, I
And
got it.
I know if they're coming from you,
Mhm.
they're going to be straight up people
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
really want to do business, is, and are going to appreciate the energy we bring to it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I like that whole idea of a travel advisor, right? Because you get more when you are planning your trips, right? So that's good. I won't use travel agent
Yeah, there's no
anymore.
more traveling. No more traveling. Sorry about
No more travel agent stories, right? Yeah, so that is pretty interesting about the traveling and the way you said that we are just think about human beings as the same, but it comes down to when we don't get the seat in the places where decisions are being made,
that.
where you, like you're saying, the brands, we are spending so much money, but there is no representation for us anywhere in their companies, right? And so that's great to see that you're on the advisory board making those differences and making it happen there,
But
right?
it's going to come. But see, that's good. But the other piece is it's really going to be on you as the consumer. Like
Okay.
I see it, and it really does something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first one, I'm with an organization, a great umbrella host agency called KHM Travel Group,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept complaining and complaining to them. I was like, when I go to the marketing, I think it was a Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And it really got to me because I was looking for a Father's Day image. And all I saw was a white guy with his little white blonde little
Mm-hmm.
girl, which was,
Mm-hmm.
it's like me and Jazz, but I ain't see that.
Right, 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 right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not right. I should
Mm-hmm.
have to go Google for any images. And then from there, we really broadened it out and did a diversity, and they really challenged the suppliers to do that. So we're seeing a lot of progress. We're seeing a lot of great people, and Black people are traveling like never before.
Oh, that's beautiful. I did. I heard something where you saying where now it's like people, COVID probably told people live your life,
We're
right?
doing
Because so many people unexpectedly got taken out or
right,
died, right? And
right.
so all of us are saying, wait, but what are we waiting for, right? Do the things that we want to do now, right? If you want to travel, do it. So I understand it from that perspective, right? But you said something about it was up to us as the consumer. What would you say the responsibility of the is of us as the consumer?
If you see, be aware, if you're planning your next vacation,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and you're choosing a hotel or a cruise line,
Mm-hmm.
and you see an advertisement, because see, as soon as hey Sandy, I don't know what that meant. I mean,
I
but
can say, okay.
oh, that's nice. But but if you see an advertisement, so the minute that you go on your computer nowadays
Mm-hmm.
and you type in
Mm-hmm.
cruises,
Okay.
cruises are going to start popping up in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you start seeing images that are showing people that look like you, then
Mm-hmm.
right, just right. Oh, Carnival, I saw that ad. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, and this you're going to find this on the higher end brands,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you go into your, very expensive properties, if you don't see people that look like you, and your uncle's is a CEO and has a private jet, you just say, well, wait a minute, it would be nice if we saw some people, some diversity.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's on us to say something.
Right.
Right. More of us need to say something about it, and then we'll get the results.
That's
right.
right.
And it's okay. And you know what it makes me think of like making a difference from a different perspective. We don't necessarily have to march, but we have to speak up about as we see us not being represented in these right places, say something. Don't just let it go.
Right.
And I think also at this point, more people are willing to listen too. So we really have to say it. Just tell them what we want and not be afraid to say it. And I also think we have to have a clear message. So I like where you're going. We're talking about the travel industry, and within that industry, you're making a difference. And each one of us, we're in different industries. And within our own industry, we can make those same differences. And then that's when we'll see change occur. For me, I love when you said get them executives in there, because that's what I'm all about, right? Right. Get us up there.
That's where it is. And those are the people that hire the agencies that do the imagery. And then when we go, because yours is more on the, the spiritual plane, and the tie-in here is for children. Like I told somebody the other day, we were discussing whether or not the kids should, as soon as a child has a baby, or a person has a baby, I say to them, start the piggy bank, $5 a week. When they get 6 years old, you can afford this. Because it's so expensive. But I remember at 6 years old getting on the train from Philadelphia to New York to come stay at the Astor Hotel. Hotel Astor is gone now on Broadway, and went to the World's Fair in Queens. I was 6. Now I won't remember Prophet Pete's name once he get off the phone. Right? I'm not gonna remember your name, Prophet Pete. But what I will tell you is, when I was 6,
that made a difference. Yeah.
So that's where the reunion, like you did, the family reunion, like you did, the family, like Annie does. Annie's one of our agents that works with us. She's on. I just saw her pop on. Those memories you cannot replace. Right. So that's the good thing. And more importantly, when I think about it, I've been really blessed. I mean, I've been to the Orient, I've been to Japan, I've been to South Africa, I've been to London and Germany, and just all over the world, the Caribbean. And just to think of not just that I've been there, which is a little concerning with what I see nowadays in social media. It's like you go to India, you get off the plane, you got the plane ticket for $8, and then you get off, you go in front of the Taj Mahal, take a picture, get back on the plane, and come home. Y'all know who I'm talking about. People that just go to take photos of a kind of places to look like they're ballers. For me, and I'm seeing that less and less, thankfully. But the real key is the experiences and the people that you meet
when you travel.
Right. I literally have like many families in Brazil and Dominican Republic and South Africa and London and all over the place that you really get to know. And those experiences are ones that will transcend the money that leaves your pocket.
Right. That's what you remember, the experiences of all that and meeting all those people.
Right.
Yeah, let's shift to talk about spirituality. Tell us about your spiritual journey. I know I've known you a long time, so you were raised in the Catholic Church, right?
I started in the Catholic Church.
Right.
I was going to be a priest.
Oh, you're a priest, right? I think I remember that, right?
No, you didn't. You must remember me talking because you didn't.
Yeah, no, I remember me talking about
I
being a
was going to be a priest, and that changed when I went to Rome at 15, and I saw all the opulence, and I couldn't. It didn't equate to me, coming from the hood and people giving all their money, but living hard. And so then I went to. I think I've been Baptist, Buddhist. I've probably been pretty much a lot of things, but the core thread. I think I told you this. My father used to have a saying, and it's through the Bible, it's through the Quran, it's through everything. But his way of saying it is, fair is fair, and that's not fair. Right is right, and wrong is wrong. So you just do unto others. You just deal with core principles of what's right, what's fair, and you'll be okay.
So just living by the right and fair rule is one of the things. That's where you are now in your spiritual journey. Do you still go to church and practice Christianity?
Yeah, I definitely. Well, that's interesting how you did that, because that's
you keep saying this. How am I doing?
You can't make it like that. It's like, oh, and no, you don't do it like that. The part I do, I practice Christianity, yes. Do I go to church? Sometimes. But the two together doesn't necessarily mean.
Twitting them together, right, doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, what are some of your spiritual practices? We talk about that a little bit. I thought we'd talk a little bit about spirituality and the practices that support you now in your life.
It's another conversation that just came up yesterday. I believe that you have to believe. You have to have the faith.
Faith.
You have to have the faith. You have to believe. You have to believe that you're here for a purpose, a supreme purpose. And if you didn't before COVID, you got to now. There's no, you know what I mean? Why am I still here? Why didn't I get COVID? Why didn't I, touch the same things? You're around the same places. So I lived enough to see that. So I pray daily.
Oh, okay.
I pray. I have little prayer warriors all around me, Miss Annie and Leslie, Leslie, and so you have that knowingness. Right? You have that knowingness, and I find that really preachy people that are going to quote me all parts of the Bible and this and that and this. Okay, that works for you. That's fine. But it's how you live that really matters. And again, the people that you surround yourself with. I'm very fortunate, even for back in your time. I don't like yes people around me. I'm too strong for that, right? They annoy me, and I'm sure I don't annoy them. I'm sure everybody totally appreciates the earnest in which I come. Yeah, I see some comments coming in, so I guess we're doing all right there. But no, on a real trip, I mean, there's a lot that we have to pray for. I mean, thank God we got rid of the surface part of what Donald Trump represented. That surface part seems to go, but I mean, the grumblings of that earthquake that is rolling beneath our feet is very serious, and it's time for prayer. It definitely is. And so again, I just see how stuff comes to me, right? I see how it rolls to me, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the people that I have. And it took a long time for me to not focus on the one or two negative people that come like a thunderstorm. You got all these other good people bringing good vibes to you, and that one person just pisses you off, right?
and not to focus on them and be able to like not have your energy go to them, right? And that's really good because that really is a practice too, because we're so used to trying to the negative almost, right?
Right.
To where we'll forget the 10 great things that have happened and just so focus on that one
That's right.
thing, like you
That's right.
said, the one person. And then
That
it's
one.
really good when we can shift from that. And all of it is a practice because I think that we are who we are. We're always going to be who we're going to be. So somebody will come to you and you may have the initial same reaction may be the same, but you'll respond differently from once you stop and say, well, what does this matter now? And
Right.
that's when I say we're shifting, right? And we're saying like now if a negative person comes to you, you know how to move them out and not even entertain it as opposed to like staying in it. If somebody, because I could think about different periods when things went wrong, like the music business we were in, like and the people and all of that, right? And to get to a point where you're past all that and you can say, okay, so that happened. This is what I learned from that, and here I am now. But you wouldn't create it the same way this time because of who you are now.
Right.
You
But,
know what I'm
but
saying?
but you know you want to tell a story about when my mother passed away very young. She was like 55, and she had gone to the teachers union to get money for my brother's school. I think she wants 10,000 something, whatever, something. And they said no. And then 2 weeks later, her estate was worth like $350,000. So the current day, you talk about 750. And so I had, yeah, you know about this because you know my. So I bought my friend Barry Berkowitz, who was an accountant, to see my father because I was like, he ain't never dealt with this kind of money, so I get accountant. So my boy, and this is my boy, so he comes in, and I say to dealing with the business or whatever. So I say to dad, my father, I was like, look, I need 50 grand to do this record company. And Barry Berkowitz, my boy, looked me dead in the face and said, did I ever tell you this story?
Maybe I can't remember. Go ahead, tell the
And
people.
he told my father, he said, don't give it to him.
Mm,
I'm looking at this man like, I brought you in here. What the hell are you talking about? Don't bring me in.
hmm
He said, no. He said, you want to give him the 50,000, put it in a Roth IRA. When he's 60 years old, he'll have $2.5 million in the bank.
Okay. Mm,
And my father did just like, that's okay.
hmm
And as soon as he left, my father told me to get the checkbook, and he wrote the $50,000. Right
Right.
now, who was right?
The guy back then with the rock. I think if you had 2 million by now, I think the invest in the 50,000. But at the time, you felt invest in the 50,000, the music business will make you even more, right?
Right. But
So,
but the deep part was that my father believing in me sustained me for the next 50 years.
yeah, okay, got it. Okay,
Right?
right, right,
Because in that 40 years or whatever, I ain't
right,
40 years young.
right.
That old.
Oh,
But,
you're too
but
young for 50 years.
I'm still here 50 years. But my point is that even though if everything went right, and if
Mhm,
it did in fact, amortize up to $2 million,
mhm,
who's to say that I would have lived
mm. To now, to get that 2 million.
to get
Right,
it? But
right, right, right.
father's belief in me
Mm-hmm.
that if you and Prophet Pete and this one didn't believe, at least I knew one person beside God believed.
Mm-hmm. Mm. That's really powerful, and that's probably a lot that kept you going, right?
Exactly.
Knowing that, right? Overall, after
All that.
all of it all,
That's right.
right?
That's
That
right.
that's really, really powerful.
That's right.
And even I think about when you were talking about the kids at point and travel, but even if we can encourage them in any way like that, give
Right.
something back to people to keep them going. I work at an educational opportunity center where they need the young people and people of all ages can get your high school equivalency. So just being able to support people and getting a high school equivalency and seeing them coming from like literacy to actually getting is huge,
It's
right? It's
right.
so huge. And just that little bit of encouragement will have them go a long way. And
That's
then
right.
that's a great story about your father. And I do remember him and who he was, the nicest guy in the world, right?
Mhm.
So that's a beautiful story. And it's interesting when we talk about, we talk about our spiritual journeys, but as we talk about our lives and we go back, we look at how just his belief and in you, right, supported you through, right? And I could look at that in a very spiritual way, right? I mean, he had faith that you would do what you needed to do, right? And all of that. So that's pretty interesting around how we have gone where we are now and what things have supported us.
And it doesn't have anything to do with how much money people have. You have sharecroppers, you have people that do it. And that was one good thing. And I
Mhm.
don't get to talk this spirituality stuff too often, so I'll give you a couple more he gave.
Okay.
He also gave, if Leslie look at that, she's not gonna like none of this. But
Mhm.
but he also gave us a sense of it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO. It doesn't matter if you're an actor. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage man. It don't matter if you're homeless.
Mm.
You treat that person with the respect that God gave them.
Mm.
You.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you have that, it's knowing these kinds of things. And the people that know me knows I don't suffer fools. Great.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you're for real, you got me. I mean, you might not agree on everything,
Mhm.
but you know, I, Granetta knows that back in the college days, we promoted, she was my right hand. We
Mhm.
promoted some of the biggest stars in the world. I mean, huge. Um,
Yeah.
Buddy Guy, Junior Wells, Laura Nair, Bonnie Raitt, Donald Byrd. Now, for the younger crew here, y'all probably don't know none of these people. They were quite big.
Right.
They
Right. You
were,
like big names, and they're looking at you like, "Who are these
who are these
people?"
people? But they know. And and so and it was very interesting. Let me see. I don't think we had no problems with none of them.
No,
Right?
no.
And I was a young black boy. I was like 19 years old. And I had like a budget of like $500,000.
Yeah.
And it was those things that we talked about before where the streets tried to beat me down. We
Mhm.
don't even want to go there today. But
Right.
but I mean
Mhm.
literally the streets are trying to bring you down. But you
Mhm.
have enough positive. At that point I felt like the streets were like this and the amount of good influences was small.
Smart.
But those small ones were so powerful
Mhm.
that they didn't let them break me.
Yeah. Mhm. I
Right?
think you grew up in South Philly, right?
North Philly.
North Philly, right?
North Philly.
South Memphis, North
No,
Philly.
North Philly. Right.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and and we also that was another piece because I remember well an argument that my parents had, and my mother wanted to move up to Mount Airy where all the shishi foo people were, and
Right.
my father refused to do it. He said no, they gonna live in the hood.
Mm.
But what he did was we all went to private schools.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? So when you talk to me, you cannot say I'm an Oreo.
Mm-hmm.
And you also ain't gonna say that I'm a thug. Or
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm kind of right down the middle.
Right, both.
I always tell people, they say, "Oh, you you seem so Malcolm X." I said, "No, Malcolm and Martin are right inside of me. Depending on how you come at me, that's who's gonna show up."
Right. That's what you want coming out. Right. Yeah.
Whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
Right. I also know there, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the real estate business and your experience in the real estate business and how what's happening now. You know, everything when I think about it is after COVID, like what's going on? What's happening within the industry right now?
You remember the movie Wizard of Oz, the original movie Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
And you
Follow the
remember,
yellow brick road.
well, not that part. We ain't got to the Yellow Brick Road yet. But the opening part where it's in black and white,
Okay.
and the house turns and gets caught up in the tornado.
Right.
That's where we are right now.
Oh. We still swirling around in the
We're still
swirl.
sure. Right. And what's happening is that it's very interesting what COVID did. That's a whole show, you
Okay.
know, with
Yeah.
that whole thing, because what has happened is in Manhattan and a lot of your big inner cities,
Mhm.
people, because they didn't have to work, they didn't have to go to Midtown to go to work. They don't have to live necessarily in a 2-bedroom apartment. There were no shows, there was no restaurants, there was, so you're stuck in this box. Whereas you could go and move somewhere else, Jersey, suburbs, or whatever, have a backyard, work at home, and all that. Now, and I hope they're very happy. And the prices in Jersey and Westchester, all my people are telling me have gone through the roof.
Wow.
Where people are doing multi bids,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And New York is really struggling to the Manhattan, at least the Manhattan. Brooklyn, I hear, is moving a little bit more. But I can tell you what I know.
Mm-hmm.
After 9/11 and these two big planes go and blow up both of these buildings, and it came back bigger than ever, New York will rise again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that being said, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And someone said to me the other day, and I thought it was very interesting. They said, "No, I don't expect the people that left to come back. I expect the people that could never get in to come
in.
in, which is magical, right?"
Mm-hmm.
There are programs like NYC.gov you can go on, and depending on your income, you can get in the lottery system, right? Put your name on the lottery for rental. Put your name on the lottery for purchase. Right. Then you might be dead when they call you, but if you're alive, make sure you have your credit in place. Make sure you saved up a little bit of money that you can get the proper things and stay in tune with what's happening, because New York will never die.
Mm-hmm. And so the best thing now is to just lay and let it rebuild. Let it come back.
Before you do what?
Right. I don't know. Before you, if you were thinking about retiring, let's say, right? where would you go?
No, but the question. Well, good question.
Yeah.
You could go to a foreign country.
Really?
Oh my goodness. You can take your money and right, depending on how, Ghana, you could go to Ghana, you could go to, where else is a lot of people talking about?
So that you think a lot of people are now moving to Ghana and creating businesses there and living there?
Somebody was just saying that Senegal just had a big symposium where they were bringing people in and trying to develop. I mean, it really just depends on what you want, but you got to travel first to know where you want to go, y'all.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
got to travel first to know where you want to go.
Mm-hmm,
Now,
mm-hmm,
I'm okay with Airbnb, but let me give you a little warning.
mm-hmm.
Just make sure that you're getting an Airbnb for the right reason. A young, I don't know if you know this guy, but young boy, and he's starting to do little events and stuff, and he wants to do villas. So I do villas, but with villas, I always tell people just be very careful why you're doing it and what the risk is.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say there are so many places for you to see, and go visit them. You know, if you
Mm-hmm.
want, you could go to my website. I got three good ones coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Pretty
then
good.
I'm on
Sure.
big group trips. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do group trips, and they're curated, which means everybody's welcome as long as they got a good attitude. And we
Mm-hmm.
do, smaller groups, 24 to 33. So we're doing Egypt this October,
Mm, okay.
Cairo, Aswan, a cruise down the Nile. The Egypt Museum is going to be amazing. That's in October.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Dubai for the World's Expo. It's called the Dubai Expo 2020. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we do South Africa again in November of 2022.
Are these all cruises?
No, no, I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
mention the cruise yet. There's one.
Okay.
This, that's what Goodell always say. You doing a cruise?
No, these are okay, great. These are like group
Yeah.
trips.
There's,
Okay.
there's one cruise, and one cruise is the Rome to Greece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. It's really great that all these trips are available and all these different places that we can go are being made available to us, right? And I know that what is your clientele like though? Is it like across the board? Are you seeing more Black people traveling with you, and is that based on referrals?
I have a mix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm happy to say it's about a good percentage are millennials as well as people our age
Okay.
in between,
Okay.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
the criteria is that you want something different, you want added protection. Mostly we do groups,
Okay, got it.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just good. It's a good time, but I just also need people to know that we're professional people.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ones we know. So just like you're not gonna go into a doctor and ask him how much that stethoscope costs, or question whether he's giving you a pill so he can make an extra dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Don't assume that if you go into a travel advisor that they're pimping you. Right?
Mm,
The good ones are always looking out for your best interest.
mhm,
Now
mhm,
demand is very high
mhm,
for people,
mhm.
like especially like us,
Right,
right?
right,
It
right.
really is. It really is.
Mhm,
So I always tell people I have to be very careful of who I donate my time to, because if you call me Grenada,
mhm,
right, you need to be able to get me. And if I'm playing with just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that has no commitment and they just want to price shop,
mhm,
I really try to make sure that's not what I do. I spend
mhm,
time with people who are going to commit, and he spends time with people that want to commit. And to be honest with you, not many people can say it, but I am very proud of every client we have. We
mhm.
have no problem children, none.
Right, no, right. That's really good. I think what comes to my mind is how do we just get more Black people to know that they can do these things and go to these places. In my mind, it's sort of like we have a limited view of knowing that it's available to us, right? And that we can travel and go to different places. So when you were talking about the whole brand thing too, that brought to mind seeing people like us doing these things,
Yeah,
right?
but you brought up a great way because I know your clock is ticking. You brought up something that's very important, Brand, and this is not a brand thing.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I don't. Oh, it's Clark. It was on one of the Clark University things,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody had to remind me. I think it was me and Denise talking, and we were like, "Well, how come we really liked it?" And every decade that went by, the kids like it less and less.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said to me, they said, Lawrence, but you got to remember, there was no internet and cell phone when you went to school.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of that. They said these kids, they're sitting on their phones and they um, I keep trying to edit my thought with you, but complaining
Right,
about
right.
this and that and this and that,
Mm-hmm.
and getting on and talking about this one and talking about that one with a thumb. No, if you had to talk to somebody, you had to go over to the dorm and sit around with people to their face and say what you're gonna say.
Right.
And I never thought about that. And it was like it seemed like every class that we talked to, they had a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were closer to the civil rights revolution where things were really hard.
Exactly.
So the easier it got, the more frustrated. So I think where it really is going to come down to is we have to get back to the place where your Aunt Rose,
Mm-hmm.
like she did and took you and Voila and they're all, oh, we going over to the whatever Sesame Street of that time was in Memphis. Or my people took us to Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
It's on us.
Mm-hmm.
The parents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the neighbors, the churches, the schools. Because the churches don't have trips no more that I hear of.
Right.
Right? I mean, maybe TJ Jakes and them, but
Mm-hmm.
the little ones, the schools certainly.
Not tripping.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever. So now we really have to repurpose that and say, this is what we want to do. I will tell you this, maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe more than that. But this guy came to me and he was a young black guy and he was like, look, I got 2 kids and I think it was $1,500, $2,000, something, and he wanted to take his kids out of the country. And I was like, man, I said, whatever the number was, it was really low.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh man, that's going to be tough. He said, but it's important.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he had to tell me.
Right.
Right? It wasn't the 5-star, 4-star, whatever I normally did. But we found a good, solid 3.5-star, not no, whatever, but he went to the Dominican Republic and took them kids.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know within 2 years he was back and he could afford a Hard Rock?
Mm-hmm.
That's 6,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Just a hardworking man.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, my kids are going to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt really good that I could help them. That was this is a great topper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing good, right, Prophet Pete?
Prophet Pete's the engineer.
I know, but he there. I see his name. Because none of the rest of y'all talking to me, so I just got to talk to Prophet Pete.
Right. And Larry's like, have a conversation, ask questions, right? Do you have any questions for Lawrence?
Ain't nobody asking me nothing. I saw 2 people pop up there.
Well, Sandy said something.
But you ain't read it. That's why Sandy went away.
I didn't read it.
I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing. Sandy, don't blame me. I don't see nothing. I saw you twice ago. So listen.
There she is. She said, traveling is spiritual. Through travel, we connect and share a moment with people, regardless of whether we are even speaking the same languages. Right. And you are so right, Sandy.
And give her my card. You get a card. You get a card.
You know
I
what it
mean,
reminds me of though? When I was studying all the different religions, I would experience them. I went to the Quaker church. I went to Buddhism, and I experienced all of them. So when I would go to the Jewish temple on Fridays, they would speak in Hebrew, they would sing in Hebrew, but it was a spiritual experience, right?
yeah,
Being in the space, although I didn't know the Hebrew, you would have to read really fast on the English side, and it was upside down going backwards, right?
yeah,
So the experience though of being in the room was very spiritual. So
yeah.
no matter the language, right, you make that spiritual connection with
That's right.
people.
That's right. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you the best one to a really amazing story. And it's funny how real estate and travel, the businesses I do, they're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You want a house, I gotta listen to how, you get a bigger family, or you got divorced, or you all that. Same thing with travel. This is what I would do. But I got a call once from a young lady, and she says, "I need a trip, and I already have my ticket." Now, normally, if I'm not doing the whole thing, I don't do it. But I said, "Well, where are you going?" She said, "Well, I'm leaving whatever, New Orleans, and I'm going to fly to South Africa. And then from South Africa, I'm going to Italy. And then from Italy, I'm going to New Zealand. And from New Zealand, I'm like, well, why would you do that? And you don't have nothing." She said, "No, I don't have no hotel. I don't have nothing." I said, "Well, why would you?" I couldn't understand. I was like, "Well, why would you do it?" And she said that her baby was 6 years old, and they went all 6 or 7, and died tragically.
Mm.
And she was going all these places to put a piece of him.
Mm.
Girl. And I said, "Whatever I have to do, we gonna make this happen."
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was like so amazing. I didn't, it wasn't about money. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it was about, oh my God, we want this vision to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we didn't just go to the commercial part of South Africa. We went in the bush.
Mm.
I mean, this lady had planned it out, but somebody said, they told me, don't continue with this. Call Lawrence. He'll make sure you're all right.
Mm-hmm.
That was a transcendental thing. Again, it ain't about the money all the time.
Right. Right. Right.
That
Right.
may be
Right.
a perception of us, but it's not about that.
Right. Right. Yeah, well, that is, it's interesting when you said you can put the two together, and being an advisor, a travel advisor is everything because you have to be able to hear the stories, you have to be a coach, you have to talk to people and have to feel. But like that story was amazing, and you had to be
Yeah.
in a space to support her with what her vision was and what her dream was to have it happen. So that does
Yeah.
shine a light on a travel advisor. The role, you think where you're just booking something, book, but it's really about getting to know what people want and what the outcome is. So that's really cool.
And one final thing that we cannot stop with, we have to
Okay.
say this because it's a
Mhm.
fight that I always do.
Okay.
If you're going on a trip, I don't care if it's A, B, and B, C, and D, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get travel protection.
Okay.
You are out of your mind if you go anywhere out of this country and you do not have full travel protection.
Got it. Okay. Travel protection. Wow. It's been good having you here tonight. What do you want to leave people with? Um, and I know several times you said it will be a whole show to talk about some things. So we're gonna have to figure out what those whole things are, right? And share about them.
Well, that's good. Well, I hope some people can write and stay and promote conversations with Rev G, because she's talking about him. No, but for real, that's the more important things. I got 15 seconds.
Mhm.
What's very important, y'all, is nowadays, if you see somebody doing something good, hit like, hit share. Stop all this when the dirt comes out and Beyonce has a fight with Jay-Z that it gets 1 million shares. Share
Mm.
today. ZebizTravel.com.
Yeah.
The
Thanks,
P.
Lars. See you
See
soon.
you, girl. Love you, baby.
All right. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining me tonight on Conversations with Reverend G. And you can catch me here every Monday night bringing you special guests on WEMS Radio Live from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can find me on Facebook as Rev Grenetta Mason and on YouTube as Rev Grenetta. Have a great, great week and think about where you'd like to travel next and make it a reality. I will see you next week. Prophet Pete.